I still have to fight to be over my breakup from a year ago. I'm exhausted with it all. I know I've come a long way and I really do celebrate that. I'm glad you really do. The work really does tick away at it. It just seems that I feel it or him every second. Tabling it feels impossible. I'm really frustrated and barely even want to post this because I feel so lame for still struggling with this. I want to pause and say, I'm so glad you did. And like, this is exactly what we're here for. So anytime anyone on here is like, I don't know, I feel lame, or like, I've been doing so good, I don't want to tell them like, I'm not doing good anymore. Like, this is what these calls are for. So if you feel lame or you're like anxious or you don't want to post it or you're second guessing it, that is definitely the time when you need to send in a question. So I just want to like honor you for doing that. And it takes courage and it's brave. Okay. Why is this so hard? I want it to be over already. I must be missing something. I'm doing my routines and those are pretty general. But for the work specific to that situation, I do a lot of I choose statements when the thoughts of unworthiness come in and power stances. Any tips for speeding up this process? Also, I have to see him on Friday. I'm going to do the practice about how I want to show up. Can you review that process again or point me to the module? How to speed up the process of getting over this breakup. Revisit the exercise on how to show up. I've tried journaling on how I want to show up this morning and found myself at a loss trying to describe that.
This is a good one. I love breakup questions.
Yeah.
You know what, breakups for a lot of people, they're really, really personal and they're really individual. So number one, I want you to let's remove the judgment on how long or how hard or, like what it's supposed to look like. Like Ruby and I constantly joke with each other back and forth how we've been so conditioned by Disney and rom-com bullshit around like what falling in love is supposed to look like and what breaking up is supposed to look like. None of that looks like that ever. And so let's get that out of our, psyche. Give ourselves a little bit of space for it to just organically unfold, whatever it is. This relationship that you had, from what I know of it, you were deeply intertwined with this person and you had a very, strong connection with them. Some individuals have the propensity to really mimic those old wounds so succinctly. Not every partner will do that, but some do. And the ones that do, those are the ones that are typically hardest to sort of untangle from. So part of the history of your relationship, remember this, and this is for anyone moving forward too while entering a new relationship. When you meet somebody, and you start to get the feels and you get all excited and you're really, kind of in that falling in love state, but there are things showing up that this probably isn't a good idea, or some people call them red flags or whatever, right? When those start to show up, this is what you have to call into question. Moving forward with somebody who's demonstrating certain behaviors of lack of health or lack of functionality, there's a high likelihood that not only is the relationship going to be challenging, but the breakup is going to feel thicker as well, because you're dealing with somebody, right, who in a lot of ways doesn't have the health or functionality to be able to navigate. If they can't navigate the relationship in an awesome way, chances are the breakup's going to be thicker as well. And it's okay if you still have feelings for this person, and it's okay if you still feel connected to this person. The fact of the matter is that you got to a point, together where you decided this relationship wasn't going to work anymore and you didn't want to remain in a dynamic. So part of moving forward is, number one, there's got to be an element of you, and I'm guessing that the fact that it's just the time frame alone, like you're resisting some aspect of its unfolding, right? Because it's uncomfortable, whatever it is. Breaking up has to do with your worthiness. Breaking up has to do with not feeling good enough. Breaking up was that this was a failed relationship. And maybe it's the idea of feeling rejected or unrequited love, like all of those things that show up in that space. You're still doing two things. Number one, you're resisting the organic unfolding of what is, of just being with it, like bringing that mindfulness component of, this is what heartache feels like in this human experience. Like taking that deep breath when the feelings overwhelm you, instead of being like, fuck, I'm doing this again. I'm thinking about him again. It's still happening. Why am I not getting better? Why isn't this moving on? Right? Like that resistance right there is what's keeping it still active. This is another thing that is lodged inside of you. It's an emotional charge, right? And instead of you giving it space to sort of just move through you, it shows up and you're like, fuck it, like whack-a-mole. You get really mad and you put it back down and you're really angry and you're like, go back. I don't want to deal with you right now. So it's not moving through you in a productive way.